Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review for a lunchtime edition of a live show. We did say that we would go live if there was any real strong news to bring you rather than go recorded. And I'm pleased to see so many people in already watching live, over 250 already. NUFC Shane, of course, over there in Australia. Hope you're well, mate. He's been a member of the channel for 21 months, so thank you very much for that. Evening, gents. Great time for a stream. Thoughts on making a move for Calvin Phillips if this ban does happen, which it looks like it might. Yeah, we'll come on to that, of course. We are here today with the news of Sandro Tonali, as it's come out overnight or this morning that Tonali has indeed admitted to betting on Milan games. Now, some are saying it's just on to win. It doesn't matter to me. He's bet on his football club, and that is against the rules. It is completely against the rules. Tonali has admitted to that, and it looks like there is going to be a lengthy ban. Before we get into it, though, usual applies for live show, guys. If you do enjoy today's show, hit the thumbs up button for us. Very important to the channel. And, of course, if you are new and you like what you see, please do hit the subscribe button. On the way to 25k now, so please, if you're new, hit the subscribe button, free to do so. And, of course, the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or schedule any live shows or we upload any future videos. And if you want your say today and you want it read straight out, you can super chat the channel, of course. If you do make a donation to the channel via super chat, you do get your comment read straight out, of course. So please, if you want to support the channel that way, thank you very much. Right, we'll get into it, of course. Billy, we spoke about this at sort of very early doors on the watch along last night regarding another Italian player for Juventus who'd been suspended for 7 months. Apparently, a plea deal, if you like. He gave names to the authorities, something like 40-odd names. Of course, Tonali was one of those names. Now, if we give a quick recap on what happened, it seemed like it was only for illegal betting. It wasn't sports-related. That's what some reports were saying, but we've always said all along, we don't know. There were so many different reports coming out along the last few days that we haven't had any idea of what was actually going on. And then, you know, a few people yesterday or the day before putting videos out saying Tonali was innocent because they read a report wrong, which is, it's not the people's fault for putting that out. It was just the way the report was written was a bit confusing. And then, of course, this morning, he has now admitted to betting on AC Milan games. Some reports are saying it is just to win the games. Some are saying it was just betting in full. It's not great, is it, Billy, where we stand now? And it's not great for Newcastle United, this.
Well, there were no winners in it, but the ultimate losers are Newcastle United, because we've spent a lot of money on this player to bring him to England to play in the Premier League and Champions League, a player for the future on a large contract with huge wages and a big transfer fee in the original kind of sense. Yeah, it's not good. Ultimately, we're the biggest losers. Footballers know what the rules are regarding betting on football. They know it's a big no-no. And if you get caught, you're going to get stung. And I'm afraid Mr. Tonali has let himself down. He's let his teammates down at AC Milan. And ultimately, he's let Newcastle United down in a massive, massive way. Yeah.
Now, obviously, look, addiction is addiction. And we spoke about this last night, Billy, that, you know, people need help with addiction, whether it be gambling, alcohol, drugs, whatever the addiction is. You know, people deserve the help because addiction is a horrible thing. Danielle is with us. Danielle, good afternoon. She says, addiction is an illness, whether you like it or not. I'm sure everyone has their own issues in life and make mistakes, sometimes big mistakes. A wise man once said, those in glass houses, etc. Indeed. Look, addiction is an awful thing. And I'm actually going to be doing a mental health video shortly for it's Mental Health Month, of course. And I did one a couple of years ago when I went through my story. I'm going to do it again because obviously we've got a lot more subscribers now. But look, away from the addiction side of it, we're talking about the football side of it first, Billy. And of course, the football side of it means, like you've just said, Newcastle United have been screwed here, whichever way you look at it. Some people have already mentioned the due diligence in the transfer of Tonali to Newcastle, whether Newcastle have made a mistake in not doing a proper due diligence. But what I will say is, how were they supposed to know if nothing was said to them? Exactly. And the investigation hadn't taken place, then Newcastle United weren't to know. This has all just sprung up out of nowhere for me in the last week or so. And we have to concentrate on the football side first before we will talk about the addiction side, of course, but we talk about the football side. Milan must. People are saying, Billy, that the fee we got for Tonali, the fee we paid, was quite low in comparison to the player's stature. Now, surely Milan, I mean, you can say what you want about Italian sides. I don't really care. They must have known.
It's proven it. If they knew or not, it's the problem. I would say they did know. I would say that they've put out a low price to attract buyers for him, to get him out of the club. It looks that way. It's putting one-on-one together and getting two.
Mm-hmm.
A player of that stature and quality and youth, with future kind of improvement to come from him. You're looking at more than 55 million. We've saw Jude Bellingham go for twice that. Is he twice a player of Sandro Tonali? Different kind of players, but I wouldn't say so, no.
I mean, look,
it's a ridiculously low price if you look at it from that point of view.
We were all shocked at the price we got him for, weren't we, at the time?
We thought we'd really got a bargain, didn't we? We really did. But you don't look in behind, you don't think, well, why is he that cheap? Once they've passed medicals and things, you don't look into kind of his social behaviour. You just don't do it. And it's impossible to find out if someone's betting. It's just something. It's secret, isn't it? If it was that obvious, the Italian authorities would have found out months ago about it, wouldn't they? So,
well, the thing is, there's obviously, I think there's going to be a huge legal battle ahead. There has to be, because Newcastle United can't sit on this and just say, right, well, we've been screwed here. Because a lot of people commented this morning, Billy, that maybe, Tonali's body language has suggested that maybe something has been hanging over him, and that he hasn't looked like the player he looked for Milan. And we've been saying, well, you've got to give him time in the Premier League, etc., etc. But maybe this is a cloud that's hanging over his head that is finally come out now. And you know what? He's looking at a ban. I don't think there's any doubt about that, Billy, that he is going to get a ban now that he's admitted to that. So we are going to be a player down. And I know that Newcastle fans are saying, Joe Linton's going to be fit, Willock's going to be fit, etc. But this has screwed Newcastle United over 100%.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's all like saying that Joe Linton and Joe Willock are fit, but they play on either side of the midfield, really. And we're left with Sean Longstaff on his own to play in that right centre midfield position. With young Lewis Miley, obviously, he may have to play more games now because of this. I'm really concerned about it. I mean, there's trust issues there for me now. If he's doing that, we've seen him do a couple of things for Newcastle, which didn't smack of really trying his hardest to get in front of balls of shots and things. The
Brighton game springs to mind, and of course
the
West Ham
game, and the West Ham game. Is he still doing it? We don't know. It's possibly nonsense. It probably is nonsense. But
you've got to, in these situations, Billy, you've got to play devil's advocate, haven't you?
Of course you have. And you can't help thinking, why is it, a player of that stature and an obvious quality? Why is he not closing down balls for 3 yards away? Why is he not doing that? Why is he playing 2-yard passes to Bruno, nearly getting him sent off? Is that the case? I mean, it's stupid to actually say out loud, but you can't help thinking things like that, can you? Because he's obviously an untrustworthy individual with his betting stuff. If he's going to bet on football involving your own club, it's very, very, very iffy, in my opinion.
I mean, Barbara makes a point there that a lot of people will be thinking exactly the same thing. He could be saying he is addicted to get off lightly. Whether his agent has come out and said that because they've said, he's got an addiction because, they know what's coming. And could there be, you just never know. And these are questions that we have to ask because, it's a huge news story for Newcastle United, this. It puts us under a dark cloud again.
Of course
now, I know the club haven't said anything yet, Billy. Do you think they need to make a statement soon regarding this or not?
Well, Sky News are saying that they're shocked and surprised by the revelations.
So there you go. So basically they're saying that they didn't know anything about this. I mean, to be honest, they wouldn't say that if they did. They would say, look, Tonali was brought in. I don't know how they'd word it, to be honest, if they did know about it. But if they're saying that they're shocked and surprised, I am sure that the owners now are on to PIF, etc., because they'll want answers, especially from AC Milan. And probably Tonali himself, if we're honest, because, this has really put the club under a dark cloud. And again, it's it's gambling, and we've spoken about gambling in football for a very, very long time. We as individuals don't understand why footballers who make all this money need to try and win more money. It doesn't make sense. But if there's an addiction there, we'll come on to that later in the show. But for now, it's all about our club. And our club has been royally screwed. And AC Milan, you know, when you look at the price, we actually went to AC Milan for a different player and came back with Tonali. Now, why were they pushing Tonali on us? I don't know. Tonali obviously was a target. We had looked at him, but we went over there for another player. And that has to ask questions in itself, Bill.
Yeah, it's very cloak and dagger. And, you know, if you've got a player on your books that you know is committing offences, he's going to get banned for them. You know, it's very, very easy to kind of buy him off on somebody else, especially if you're going to get a big chunk of change for him. 55 million is a big chunk of change, irrespective of if we think it's undervalued or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm amazed that if it's the case that AC Milan didn't know, I'd be amazed by that. I really would.
Well, Avina makes a very, very good point here. Whatever Milan or Newcastle knew, Tonali knew.
100%.
And, you know, the support for a player with an addiction, no doubt about it, you know, but if Tonali obviously knew that this was coming. He knew what he'd been doing. And why has it took until now for him to admit it? You know, why didn't he just admit it when he first went into the investigators, when that was first reported that he went in and he came out and said, or it was released in the press, that it was only regarding illegal betting, which was blackjack and poker on illegal betting sites.
Yeah.
And then that's what created the frenzy to say that it wasn't football related, so why should he be banned, etc., etc. However, now, you know, he's kind of let himself down again in a way by delaying the actual facts.
I must be honest, I've got serious trust issues with him now.
Mm-hmm.
Was he still doing it this season? We don't know. You know, seriously trust issues with him. And it sold us down the river.
Yeah.
I'd be looking to get that contract null and voided and get our money back from AC Milan, because at the end of the day, it's not our fault, and there's got to be legal.
It isn't our fault at all.
So we should be able to say to AC Milan, right, you've sold us a dud here, and it's not just a case of him being crap or injured. It's something that happened on your doorstep, so you've got to deal with it. And I think we probably could get our money back for him. I'll be honest, and that's what I'd be doing. I'll be straight away.
Yeah.
That's the first course of action.
Well, the thing is, Billy, people are saying that it could be a year's ban. It could be more. You know, depending on what he's done, it could be up to 3 years. And many people say because that's his
career finished.
Yeah, because he's admitted to the issue. He's trying to get a lower ban, which the Juventus player did, obviously, for breaking this to the authorities and giving names, etc. Guy says, I agree he needs support for the addiction. However, breach of contract, suspenders pay at the very least. Already we're getting a very, very vast difference of opinions in the chat. Guys, what we want is a good conversation in the show. We don't want people arguing and things like that. Everybody is entitled to their opinion about this, which is why we're doing the show. So please don't argue or fall out in the chat. Just let your point across and let other people have theirs as well. That's what we're doing the show for, because we found out that it'd be better involving you guys than just sitting here, me and Billy, doing a recording on it. A live show is better. There's over 600 people watching, so you know, at lunchtime on a bloody Wednesday. So it just proves how important this is to people, Billy.
100%. Yeah, it's a massive thing. It's at the end of the day, as I've said, we're the ultimate losers in all of this without us doing absolutely anything wrong. You know, it's something that due diligence wouldn't pick up because it's something that's secretive. It's illegal to bet in Italy, full stop. I think online, so it's not something that's going to come out in the wash. So we're the ultimate losers for doing nothing wrong, and in that case, I think there should be some kind of recourse. I really do.
I mean, Ian makes a point here. There's absolutely no way you could prove that Milan knew, and I think he's got a point. But if Newcastle were to take legal action on this, then it would all have to come out in a court of law, and Milan would have to admit to, you know, they can't be in breach of court. The amount of stuff that the football clubs in Italy have been through, they would have to admit that they knew.
Would they?
Well, you know, if you're in an honest court of law, then probably, but you never know, do you?
For one thing, the Italian courts, they've also got the EU courts. We don't obviously deal with either of those anymore. I'm not sure if they can do it in this country or not. I really don't know how they'd stand. Mm-hmm. But can our laws in this country force AC Milan to pay the money back? I don't know. I doubt it very much. It's something that UEFA and FIFA would have to get involved with.
Well, listen, this is only the start of a very, very big tornado, in my opinion. This is just the start of it. This is going to get rough. It is going to escalate now. There's no doubt about it now that this has come out, because I'm sure that the Newcastle hierarchy are actually furious with what's happened here. And about the trust of Tonali. I mean, the thing is, if Tonali's on let's say he played on Saturday, right, and he made a really silly mistake that led to a goal, people are going to ask questions. People will ask questions, and not through their own fault, just because you're mentioning the trust there of Tonali. You know, if something like that happens, it's human nature. We'd be saying, "Oh, that was a bit dodgy. He shouldn't have done that."
I don't see how he can play for us again. I'll be honest. I don't. Honestly.
At all again?
No, I don't.
Wow.
Certainly not while he's, while this kind of investigation's going on and he's admitted to it. I don't see how he can play before this ban is called, whatever it is. So yeah, as you've said, people will be looking at him thinking, "Well, he's just made a real shit pass there. Did he do that on purpose? He's just kicked that ball out for throwing. Did he do that on purpose?" Mm-hmm. I think his position's untenable at the moment. I really do.
But he's made it very difficult for himself for not admitting it straight away. Yes, we would have been annoyed. Absolutely. I think that certainly with what's happened with the transfer, he hasn't set the world on fire since he signed. And again, we asked the question, was that because he was getting used to the Premier League, or was it because he has this? And let's be honest, it's a huge cloud hanging over him, because if he knew it was coming, which I presume he did, then, questions have to be asked as to why he kept so stum. And it was reported that it was just for illegal betting on sort of poker and card games. It doesn't make sense. Agent Stream says, Paul, PIF legal team will go for it. Is this official or straight from the rumor mill? It's official. It's official. It's on Sky. It's all over the news. He has admitted to it.
There's too much smoke. There's not no fire without all the smoke that's around.
But Tonali has admitted. He's admitted to the authorities doing the investigation that he has betted on AC Milan. Now, whether it was AC Milan winning, losing, it does not matter. He's betting on his own football team at the time. And that is a big, big no-no. And, this is where you get mixed with the people saying, the addiction and things like that. But, footballers know about the betting laws. They are grilled of the betting laws. And it just makes no sense. It makes no sense.
It's underhand. They're trying to do something without getting caught. It's underhand in the first place. I don't think even Ivan Toney was betting on his own club, when he got 7 months for that. So...
Jordy B says the authorities in Milan must have known about this long before he was sold. Just total corruption from the Italians. Everyone should know this now and never sign another Italian player. Listen, this could be why that not a lot of Italian players end up in the Premier League. We haven't seen a great deal. I mean, there's some great Italians over the years. You look at Vialli, you look at Zola, but many more. There's not that many.
Di Matteo's about
Di Matteo, yeah. A young lad with a problem, I support him, but this could be a problem on the pitch. Yeah, yes, support him through his addiction, if that is indeed he has an addiction. However, he has let the club down big style, and he's let himself down big style. You have to be honest here. As much as we love Tonali as a player, we've seen what he did in Milan. We saw what he did in the Euros for the youngsters. He's a brilliant footballer. But we are Newcastle United fans, and we are Newcastle United full stop. Okay? So he has let himself and Newcastle down, because he must have known this was coming. You don't start an investigation a week ago. This has been coming, right? And he must have known from the moment that Juventus player was questioned about it that something was coming, and that would have happened quite a while ago. So it's just typical that when things are looking up for Newcastle United, a huge bomb explodes again at St James's Park. And this isn't anything to do with the football club, though. This isn't anything to do with what Newcastle United have done. But we're going to be dragged through the mud for it again.
Yeah, the fans of other clubs are going to be loving it, aren't they? And people have mentioned Zaniolo at Villa. He's only on loan. He's only on loan. He's not their player. So they don't give a shit, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, I honestly think we should try and get our money back from AC Milan. I think that's a legal recourse. FFP should be adjusted for that as well. And in January, I think, as Shane says, we should go all out and get Calvin Phillips. I think that's, as Julie Dawson-Belcher said, Calvin Phillips seems to be the perfect fit. We slagged him off last night. He was awful. Yeah. But a number 6 then allows Bruno.
But he's not playing regular football. I mean, I think, again, you have to look at coming and playing under Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe will get the very best out of Calvin. Listen, Calvin Phillips played brilliantly in that season for Leeds. He was outstanding. And, that's why Guardiola signed him. But, when you look at the other players at Manchester City, you understand why he struggles to get in the side. However, at Newcastle, under Eddie Howe, we could see the Calvin Phillips that played for Leeds. You just can't say that he's going to be a great signing or a bad signing. But, Tonali has turned out to be, well, I mean, listen,
Craig, he's admitted it. He's admitted it. You're saying you keep saying let's find him guilty for the factual verdict that made official. Yeah. He's admitted to it.
He's admitted his guilt. He has admitted to the authorities, Craig. So he is guilty. He's admitted it. He's pleaded guilty. Honestly, just I know what you mean, but he has pleaded guilty. So Nathan, again, quite harsh with the comment, but I kind of agree. He says, well, it's funny how they all come out with gambling addictions once something comes to light. Yes, how obvious. You did wrong and you must pay the price. Yeah, I mean, look, it just seems very strange, Billy. And again, I'm playing devil's advocate here, that Tonali's agent comes out 2 days ago and says he's got a gambling addiction. And then 2 days later, this comes out that he's admitted to betting on his own team. It just seems very convenient.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Having said that, it's not something you openly say before transfer is about to go through, is it?
Indeed.
But it is withdrawal of facts. I think there's recourse on that. Obviously they knew he had a gambling addiction back in July. It's not just starting in the past 3 months because he was betting on Milan. So it's obviously it's historical, it's fact, and the agent would have known about it. I would have thought. So as I say, we're the innocent parties in this.
Absolutely,
nothing's happened as far as we know, while he's been here. I mean, as I say, there's you can actually say to yourself, is that the case? It's hard to say it, but.
Yeah,
this is awful stuff that happened in Italy. So we are innocent in this, and I think we should be refunded as an innocent party.
Indeed. Just to take a slight, there's over 700 watching. I just want to give a shout out to tonight's show at 7:00 tonight. We have a Toon review special with author Jake Rusby. Now, Jake is an author of Match of My Life, Newcastle United. Now he's wrote this book. And has had many interviews with many ex-Newcastle United players, including Les Ferdinand, Robert Lee, Alan Shearer, Jonas Gutierrez, Colaccini, Rafa Benitez, Shea Given, etc. Malcolm MacDonald, various others as well. Now, he's coming on the show tonight to discuss the book, which has been released in a couple of days' time. It looks like a fantastic book, but he's going to tell us all about how he went about it, the journey he's had writing it, the behind-the-scenes stories from dressing rooms that he's been told by ex-players and things like that. So he's interviewed the very best at Newcastle United over the years, and he's coming on the show tonight to obviously give the book a bit of a promotion, but tell us what it was like and the journey he's had writing it, interviewing all these players. So that's at 7:00 tonight. That should be a really, really great show. So join us for that tonight. Right, let's back to the comments and see what you guys are saying. Irish Toon says he was our statement signing of the summer. Feels like 55 million wasted now with all the competitions we are in. We cannot afford to lose any player for something stupid like this. Barbara says his contract should be cancelled and returned to AC Milan for them to deal with. I mean, it's difficult to do that. Where do you stand? Where does the law stand on it? I think that's what everybody will be asking. Geordie B says, sadly, we should never have signed him. Having watched him play, I said he was not putting the effort in and not good enough. I don't think it's about effort or ability, Geordie, mate, because I think he's definitely got the ability, Billy. We've seen him play many, many times. But there has looked like something was just hanging over his head.
Well, there's been two kind of episodes where his attitude wasn't good enough, and that's the 2 goals, Brighton and West Ham. More so Brighton, I think, because
Yeah.
it was the nonchalant flick with his right foot to clear a ball on the edge of the area, and then standing there watching whilst Billy Gilmore took a shot from distance and not closing him down. Yeah, that kind of, and I said it at the time. I said it stunk. That attitude stinks. I mean, he's got to improve that.
Yeah.
But again, you're thinking about why is he doing that? and it's ridiculous to even think it and say it. But was he betting on Brighton to score goals? I don't know.
That's where the trust issues. That's where the trust issues come in.
And I don't think he can play for us again now. I really don't. Until this is all sorted out. And if he does get a 6-minute ban, we can probably ride that out. Anything longer than that, get the money back.
Danielle says, I doubt he's made up an addiction. He's been caught and he's had no choice but to tell the truth. He's had to tell the truth, but why didn't he tell the truth straight away? Is it because he's been misadvised by his representatives around him just to say, that this wasn't a football-related thing? Brian says, us as supporters can't destroy the lad. He's still our player, and it looks like there will be a witch hunt. Looks like it's a massive problem in Italy, boys with too much money. Look, it's not going to be a witch hunt. I don't think it's a witch hunt. I think fans are angry and disappointed, and they've got every right to be. And I think you'd agree with that, Billy, because you're pretty angry. I think because we're Newcastle United fans, this is our club that has been dragged through the mud for something that isn't anything to do with us. We've signed a player who probably knew what was coming. It's been kept very hush-hush. Have Milan sold him at a cheaper rate just to get him out of the club to say, right, he's not our problem anymore? You just don't know. And this will all probably come out in a legal situation. And until then, we can only talk about him admitting to the fact that he's bet on his own team. VMV says, very, very bad. No excuses for betting on your own team games. He deserves a big punishment, no doubt. Shame that it's on us. And Milan is laughing all the way to the bank.
Do you know, I could have forgiven it if it was poker, blackjack, but football, and more specifically his own team, it's grossest stupidity you can think of. Every footballer knows the rules. I mean, some's trying to sneak football bets, but never on their own team, and
trying to make an excuse up, say, I've seen some reports this morning, of course, saying, but it was only for Milan to win, not to lose. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
You're still betting on your own football team. And at first, this wasn't anything to do with football, or that's what we were led to believe, and now it is. Some people are mentioning it's going to be an awful situation for Eddie Howe to walk into on Friday for his press conference.
Of course it is.
People will want answers. Whether that's right or wrong, I mean, the media will want answers, but the fans want answers as well, Billy.
It's not just that; it's a squad morale as well, isn't it? Taking a player out the squad that's obviously bedding himself in and has played well in certain games. He's an integral part of the squad. It's going to be a down on the morale. So it's not good either way. And as for the addiction point, if you've got a gambling addiction, I mean, it's terrible. But don't bet on football. Bet on horses. Bet on anything. If you're going to have an addiction, why are you betting on the sport that you play and you can have kind of influence on, which to me it's awful. It's
well, I agree with Chris's point there about the Premier League being hypocrites and allowing gambling sponsors.
Well, I think they don't anymore.
Well, they are getting rid of them. They are in the process, but that hasn't helped in the past, of course. Irish Toon says, to all those saying get rid or cancel his contract, don't be silly. We are not going to flush 55 million down the toilet. We are not going to get a refund. He will have to serve his ban, and then we can sell.
Yeah, but what do we sell him for once he's done a ban of 3 years? His contract
we're not going to get the money back.
10 million quid back. So there is cause for compensation. Absolutely, there is, and it's the FFP side of it as well. It's allowing us to replace him.
Danielle says he will serve his ban and he will play again, just like Ivan Toney will. But it depends on the ban, Danielle, doesn't it? Whether it's going to be a year or it's going to be 2 years, up to 3 years. We don't know yet. And if he is banned for a year, a lot of people are putting in the comments, and I've seen this not just on here today, but I've seen it in various social media circles. It's the issue of trust. Do you trust that player to go on that pitch in a black and white shirt? And there's always going to be that thought in your mind. If a mistake is made by that player, is it a genuine mistake or is it not? And again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Tonali is this or that. I'm playing devil's advocate, and I'm trying to look at it from a supporter's point of view here and say, right, is that a genuine mistake, or has he done something there on purpose And whether it's right or wrong, those are the questions that will be asked, Billy.
Of course it is. Of course it is. And it's the grossest stupidity to be betting on football. And people said, "Our footballers are to bet on horses." Of course they are. It's just online betting in Italy is illegal. There's no such thing as Bet365 online in Italy. It's illegal. It's against the law. So for one, he's broke federal law there, not just footballing law and football ethics law. He's broke the actual country's law. So it's not just a case of him serving a 3-year ban potentially for football. He can actually get time in prison in Italy.
I mean, look, Craig comes out with this. Trust issues with him. Did he lie to you personally? Well, he's lied to every Newcastle United supporter, hasn't he?
Every single one of us, you included, if you are indeed a Newcastle United supporter.
Exactly. I mean, he has lied because he tried to hide it, and now he's had to come out with it because he couldn't. He had nowhere to turn. He's had to admit to it now, and it's just weird. It's weird to think that his agent came out 2 days ago saying he had a gambling addiction, and then a couple of days later he comes out and says, "Yes, actually, I did bet on AC Milan." He didn't say that at first. So he has lied to Newcastle United.
And people are bringing the Kieran Trippier thing up as well. He wasn't betting his own team, was he?
No, he wasn't.
I think he got a 12-game ban or something. He did something really paltry.
It wasn't anything on the scale of this.
And plus, it wasn't illegal to bet what he was doing in Spain either. So it's just totally different kettle of fish.
Yeah. Barbara says, what he has done, surely it's a breach in contract. Just get rid and take the hit. We have billions, just get rid. Yama says, spot on, Billy. Yeah. Julie says, correct. The investigations must have been going on for months. Yeah. Danielle says, with all the things going on, I doubt our opinions of the player will matter to him or the club. He won't be released. I don't think listen, what I think will happen is Newcastle will ask serious questions of AC Milan and Tonali himself. They, like I said earlier on, this is not going to just be brushed under the table. This is a huge story. And again, it's one of negativity for Newcastle United, brought on by somebody who wasn't playing for Newcastle at the time. But whether you look at that, it doesn't matter. The media will see it as another dark cloud over Newcastle United, which will hit the headlines, and it already has. It's all over the news. But I just have a problem with trust now, and I think a lot of people do. Craig, again, I hold my opinion until all facts are out and official. I'm not joking in a kangaroo court or trial by social media. Craig, I don't know what you're struggling to get into your head, mate, but he's admitted to it. He has admitted to the authorities he's guilty, right? Now, this is probably to get a less of a ban, because if he said he wasn't guilty and then he went into court and found out that he was, he would get a massive ban on top of that. So what he's done is he's basically got nowhere to turn now. He's been found out. He's had to admit it, and he's admitted it. So it's not a kangaroo court or social media. The man has admitted it. Get it in your head, Craig. Honestly, I don't understand. Ian says, how much have we actually paid? Most deals are paid in installments. Stop the payments and return the player. That's an actual good point, Billy. I mean, have we paid up front for him?
We don't know, do we? And it's something that wasn't released at the time, I don't think. Potentially we can find out, but yeah, if it is in installments, then yeah, you can't release a £55 million player for Knicks. Absolutely not. And I don't think anyone's suggesting that. But the fact of the matter is, we've been sold a dud, not in football quality wise, but in the fact of his character, which is a horrible thing to say, but it's true. And we should get recourse for that.
Darren says it's all good blaming an addiction, but there are plenty of others to bet on rather than his own club, like you've just said, Billy. This screams out stupidity, in my opinion. I'm gutted with him. NUFC Ollie says if we can't get the money back, I think we need some sort of waiver with FFP.
100%.
John says breach of contract in any profession is an instant dismissal. I think football works very, very differently, though, John, as we've seen in the past. I think it's a very, very different.
Oh, the valued assets, aren't they? You can't just release players,
absolutely,
sack players, and not get any recourse for it.
Yeah. Julie makes a point about the Saudis. They don't support gambling and betting in any form. So, how are they going to view it? Barbara says Tonali cannot now be trusted with. He's withheld this from us and could have thrown games we've played. He can never play for our club again. And you can see, Billy, it's splitting opinions right down the middle, as it normally does. Some people are very very hurt by this because he's kept it quiet, but the people that I feel sorry for are Amanda and etc. because they've gone and brought in a marquee signing as Tonali was, celebrating him in a massive way, welcoming Newcastle, putting all that his welcome on social media and things like that, and it's a slap in the face.
Massive slap in the face for every single Newcastle United fan, especially the ones that have been out and got his name on the back of the shirts and things like that. It's heartbreaking, really. It's heartbreaking that we've all been sold this kind of player that we thought was going to be a fantastic player for us, and potentially now isn't going to be.
Yeah. John says, do you think cool heads would be beneficial? Yes, John, but I think there is a lot of anger and disappointment in the Newcastle fan base about this because it's, again, led to negative news hanging around the club, which we had so much of under our previous regime, and we just don't want that kind of crap anymore. And it just seems very strange that initially it was said that he went into the investigation and told them it was we thought it was about card games and online betting, which is frowned upon in Italy. Then his agent comes out with he's got an addiction, and then 2 days later he comes out and says, I did bet on Milan. It's all very, very dodgy, in my opinion, how it's panned out over the last week. That's just my opinion, though. It may be very, very different. Darren says it's a shame we aren't doing another Amazon documentary, as it would be interesting to hear what the club is saying about it. He needs to come out and apologise to the club and fans, no matter what comes of it. Well, it depends. It depends what's going to happen to him. Of course, we don't know. But I can't see, Billy, anything but a lengthy ban here.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the fact that the Italian media and the Italian authorities can't be happy with him coming to Newcastle in the first place. Mm-hmm. We've seen the reaction of the Italian media, for instance, with us getting bottom ahead of AC Milan, with us getting Sandro Tonali from AC Milan, that the kind of golden boy of Italian football. Mm. The Italian authorities can make a massive kind of deal with it and not be punished for it because he isn't there anymore. Yeah. This is why I'm saying that we should have some kind of recourse to getting him back to AC Milan.
Indeed. This is an interesting point, by the way. The Turin prosecutor may be approached by Newcastle to see if Milan did know, and if they know, they could be in trouble if they knew anything and did not report it.
Again, how much do the Turin prosecutors know? How much are AC Milan willing to release? How much have they hidden? How much, it's a massive minefield as far as I can see, and I just don't see an answer to it apart from the fact that we need our money back. Because if you go and buy a brand new car or an expensive car, and 2 months down the line you find something wrong with it that was known about, you get your money back for it, don't you? I know it's different in football terms.
Yeah, I just saw a comment before there saying, "Would you sign Ivan Toney?" Again, you've got the trust issues now. Ivan Toney will go and resume for Brentford in January, but don't tell me there's no Brentford fans don't think that if he misses a sitter, that they won't be thinking in the back of their minds, whether it's true or not, has he deliberately missed that? Because once you are tarred with this brush, it is very difficult. Look what happened to Grobbelaar, Hans Segers back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember one goal that Newcastle scored. I think, when Andy Cole scored, we scored 3 goals in quick succession.
All 3 were the same, weren't they?
Grobbelaar was all over the place, and you're thinking, surely he hasn't made an effort. And genuinely thinking, as a younger man back then, I was watching him thinking, that's not how a goalkeeper should be trying to save that. So questions do get asked.
And then in the second half, he was performing miracles, wasn't he? Trying to keep it at 3-0.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay says it all makes sense. He didn't want to leave AC. He's been pushed because of the gambling issue. He's not settled here, likely because of this hanging over him. Newcastle have been the fool. I don't think Newcastle have been a fool if they didn't know anything about it. How could they be a fool? We get what we think is an upcoming world-class player who's taken Italy and AC Milan by storm and looks an absolute gem. And we got him at a really good price. But look at Jock coming in saying we should rename this channel the Negative Review.
Well, in that case, Sandro Tonali hasn't done anything wrong, and I think we should just leave off him.
Yeah, absolutely. What a pathetic comment, Jock. You know, it's negative news. We're reporting on a player who's betted and has put Newcastle in the mud, and we're apparently a negative review channel. Pathetic comment from probably a negative, very negative man. If you're going to say things like that, you know, I'm all open to people putting their opinions in about Tonali. But to come on here and say that the channel is negative when this is massive negative news against Newcastle United, what the hell are we supposed to say? Honestly, I don't get it. Jock Bar, I know that's not you. It's another Jock who has probably never been on the channel before. And to be honest, sod off. You know, people are having decent conversations in the chat about it. And then you get an absolute Doyle like him coming on. Dear me. Let's have a look. Julie says he was always going to take a bit of time to settle in, but this is a knockout blow. It is. Craig is back again saying, so the details of the case have been leaked before the case has been concluded. Okay, Craig, mate, it's just...
He's admitted to it. He's admitted to gambling offences, betting on his own club.
Oh, dear.
I know that it's not news you want to hear, but you've got to you've got to live in the real world. It's happened. Yeah,
absolutely. John says, is it possible that any punishment wouldn't apply because he's now in a different country? Well, the problem is, and I've seen this, somebody mentioned Saudi as well. The problem we have here is that if it's under UEFA, then obviously if he's in any other European country, then he's screwed that way. But I think it would be FIFA as well, Billy. I don't think FIFA would let that go. Just say, no, he's gone to play in Saudi just so he can get away with it. I don't think that would be the case. I think FIFA would step in. Rich Baxter says, how dare you report important Newcastle news, Paul and Billy? I know, it's terrible of us. I do apologise. You know, would I be rather celebrating a new signing or something fantastic happening at the club? Absolutely. But we are going to report on stories, whether it be positive or negative. And I don't think there's any other YouTube channel won't be commenting on this. Are they all negative? No. Honest, I just don't understand people. I don't think Tonali has the right character for Newcastle. This shows what type of person he is. Also, maybe explain some of his confusing passes.
And that's how it's got you thinking, isn't it? You know, this is our whole point about the trust issues, isn't it?
Yeah. Whether it's right or wrong, you know, people are gonna make that sort of opinion, and that's been brought on by himself. Irish Toon says it's pure deception on Tonali's part. There is a bit of deception there because he wasn't honest at the start.
There's lots of deception there. I mean, I think Steve Malcolm said earlier, was it the Mighty Win? When you sign a contract, is there any reason why, you know, things we should know about that can scupper this transfer kind of that thing? Yeah, it's legal to do that, and yes, there is deception there. Absolutely, there is.
Liam says, what about Joe Linton's drink driving? Very similar situations, but not a similar anger from the fan base. It's very, very different, Liam, to be fair. Joe Linton did it once. He got punished and he served his crime, right? He did the crime. He served the time. Simple as that. You know, he wasn't left out by Newcastle as well for a game, but it's very different. You know, you're talking about a year's ban here.
It's ethics. It's about ethics in football and
absolutely.
Drink driving. How bad it is. It's an awful thing to do, but it's got nothing to do with football, really.
I hate drink driving, but listen, he admitted to it straight away. He apologised and he took his punishment. Simple as that. But it's not in any way the same shape or form here. You know, you're talking about a player who's going to be missing for a year, who we've just spent 55, 60 million pounds on. It's very different.
Indeed.
Again, Craig's putting in, let's find him guilty. He's admitted. I think there's a problem with his ears. Peter says, has he only admitted to the betting and having an addiction once the authorities have shown that they have evidence? Was he hoping that only the poker would be the only thing looked at?
We're not even sure if the poker thing's true or not. That, you know.
Yeah, was that a smokescreen? It could easily have been. Could easily have been a smokescreen. Shane, thanks for your $2.99 Australian dollars. He says Tonali had 50 quid on himself to score against Villa. Well, he got a canny payout if that's the case. Bet the club are sick now. They did not pay the extra few £1 million for Maddison.
Well, actually less. I mean, Maddison went for less than Tonali.
Maddison went for less. Yeah. Simon says he's done nothing bar his first appearance. He's been very disappointing. Keith Downey is in Italy following the proceedings. So there you go. I mean, they wouldn't fly Keith out to Australia, to Italy, sorry, if this wasn't massive. Okay, it could have massive implications. AV says guaranteed he's been betting on Toon games. We don't know that, but again, that's what people start to think. You know, do they trust this guy?
It's natural to think that, isn't it? I mean, every mistake he makes, you're going to think, is that, you know, it's natural to do that. It's just human nature. I don't know. I'm just really disappointed by the whole thing. I've got to say, it's a massive stab in the back for Newcastle United and that's Newcastle United fans.
Billy, will you please, or somebody in the comments, reply to this? Because I can't understand this guy anymore. You're not playing devil's advocate. You're finding him guilty from what you've read in the media. I've seen nothing for the Italian Federation saying he bet on AC. It's come out from the investigation. The investigators have told us. It's not just media reporting. The actual investigation has told us that Tonali has finally admitted to betting on AC Milan. What are you not understanding, Craig?
It's hard to take in, but you've got to just live in the real world for 10 minutes, mate. I know we don't want it to be true, but it is true.
He's admitted he's guilty, and it's been confirmed by the people who are investigating the crime. It's not hard to get that into your head, Craig. Come on. Craig Wright says, did we pay up front or in installments? I don't know. I would think it'd be installments, Billy, because of PIF. Sorry, PP, FFP. Or whatever it's called, the FFP. Yeah,
you'd think so. Yeah.
Celine says, would you start Tonali this weekend? Not a chance. Not a chance. I think if it was just about illegal card game betting, absolutely. But this is something very different now. It's taken a very, very dare I say the word, negative turn. And of course, I wouldn't.
No, absolutely not.
Chance.
Absolutely
not. Craig's comments, dear me, I'm not reading any more out. Chris is absolutely gutted. He had real potential, so I hope it all works out for us and him as a player. Fingers crossed FFP can be adjusted and we can stay competitive and injury-free until the January window. 40 Italian footballers involved, but the reason people thought that Tonali had been found not guilty of anything was because the report stated a couple of nights ago that Tonali and Zaniolo had been released, but what they were talking about was they were the first two names that were released in this investigation. There is many more to come and probably some very, very big players ahead. Big names will be sweating now. There's no doubt about it.
I think those that were in the squad were going to be the first ones to be
the actual Italian squad.
Yeah, and Zaniolo and Tonali, those two, weren't they?
Yeah.
But as I say, Zaniolo won't cost Aston Villa anything because he's only on loan.
Good point. We've got a $7.99 Australian dollars super chat from Jimmy Barr. Thanks, Jimmy. Probably explains why he looked so glum when he landed in a Toon, stressed and worried about what's now come to light. Again, that may or may not be true. It's just, I don't know. Toon Joe says you might need a separate TTR video to explain to Craig what admitting to a crime it means. Yeah, absolutely.
But I can understand why he's so. It's heartbreaking stuff, isn't it? You don't want to admit it. You know, you don't want it to admit to yourself that this is going through. You know, he's a massive signing for us. You know?
In denial kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, of course you are. It's life, isn't it? I guess that's not human nature.
Yeah. As soon as the agent came out and said he was addicted, you just knew he was going to get done. Yeah, I mean, that kind of implied that something was coming, without a shadow of a doubt. And that's why, you know, whether it's right or wrong to question it, you do question it and say, is that just a smokescreen? Because we knew this was coming out 2 days later, that Sandro had admitted to it. You know, I mean, bizarre, really bizarre. But it's one of them things, isn't it? You just, it's rattling opinions, that's certainly. Rob says, agree with you, Paul. Looked like he had something hanging over him. Geordie says, sorry, but he can never be trusted to play for us again. We will be all scrutinizing every kick of the ball he makes and any of his mistakes.
It's hard to say it, but it's right. What you're saying, it's very, you know, it's terrible thinking like that. But every time he does make a bad pass, And I think back to the West Ham game, the one that nearly should have got Bruno sent off, actually, with a 2-yard pass. Misplaced it.
Mm.
You know.
Time Lord said it's cheating for your own benefit. Are footballers allowed to bet on the horses? I believe they are, yes. But Keith Gillespie got himself into all sorts of gambling problems way back. And luckily, he got the help he needed. And he looks back at a lesson learned now. But, I mean, you know, as we... last 10, 15 minutes, Billy, we'll talk about the addiction side of it, because I think obviously that needs addressing.
Yeah.
I believe YouTube's has YouTube crashed?
I don't know, has it? Still getting comments in.
The comments are still coming in, but we're getting the...
Let's have a look.
I'm getting the wheel of death on the stream. Hang on, I'll just refresh this. Sorry, guys, do apologize. Just want to make sure that everything's still going on, or whether we've crashed.
I had £10 on that earlier.
Yeah, my stream has dropped. Yeah, stream died.
Let's have a look.
I'm just getting the wheel of doom.
Well, I've got adverts, so possibly not. Possibly. I'll tell you in a minute, because it's adverts I can't skip through either.
Yeah, people are saying it's down. Can you put in the comments if you can still hear us? Oh, we're back up. We're back up. Oh, good, mate. I can see you. Are we back up, guys? Can you just put in the comments? Oh, no, it's gone again. This is YouTube. No, we've gone again.
Keep sticking according to this. Yeah. It's YouTube. Oh, no, we are back on now.
Yeah, it looks like we're back. No, it keeps sticking.
It's back on my TV. Oh, no, it's frozen there.
Yeah, it keeps coming on for a few seconds and then going off again. It's playing silly buggers. Looks like we're back. Right, okay. Thanks, guys. Just to sum up the show, Billy, I mean, we will talk a little bit about the addiction. It's not a nice thing to have. We've gone again. Listen, we're going to have to end the show, guys, because YouTube's playing silly buggers and it's not very good to watch. We will talk about the addiction side of it next time, but we've got serious problems here with YouTube, so we are going to have to end the show there. It looks like it's back up and running, but I don't really trust it. It's gone on for a few minutes. Let's
keep going for
yeah, it looks like it's all right. Okay, we'll finish the show off. Talking about the addiction side now, obviously, Billy, footballers in the past have had addictions. We know they have. It's been very, very highly reported about various different. You know, you look back to the alcohol side of it. You've got Tony Adams who actually ended up in jail because of it. You look like, you know, what's happened to Paul Gascoigne. You know, Ray Parlour talks about a problem in the Arsenal dressing room with drinking at the time and things like that. So it is really, I mean, it's nasty, isn't it? And there's, you know, yes, you've got to take addiction very, very seriously here. But when you've got the representatives like a footballer has, just admit it straight away, surely.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Merson had all the addictions, didn't he? Cocaine, gambling, alcohol. You know, he was had a very addictive kind of personality, didn't he? Everything he touched, he was addicted to. So, you know, there is recourse for the football authorities to give him the support he needs to get him through it.
Yeah.
And that's a fantastic thing. Whether they've got that in Italy or not, I'm not sure. But they certainly have in this country. And you have to feel sorry for him. You know, it's something. I mean, it's hard for us to understand because I do like a bet on the horses now and again, but you know, for someone with that amount of money to want to get more from gambling and potentially lose fortunes, which I'm not sure if it is or not, it's an awful thing to have that in your system and an awful thing to try and get rid of as well. But however, once it affects us, all these sentimentality goes out the window, doesn't it?
I mean, look, you can talk about, you know, smoking as an addiction. I'm an ex-smoker.
Yeah.
But I do have the odd one now and again. It's never out of your system. You know, whenever you see somebody having one, you think, oh, it's gone again, Billy. Yeah, something's going on with YouTube. We're going to have to end.
Wrap it. Yeah, we have to wrap it.
Yeah, it's if any of you can still hear, we are going to have to wrap it up now. We are getting real problems with the stream here. Please do tune in at 7 p.m. tonight. It hasn't for some people, Craig, but it has for others. So we are going to have to end it there. However, we will be back at 7 p.m. of course with our special guest Jake Rusby coming on to tell us about all the interviews that he's done for various Newcastle United players in the past, of course. So please join us for that. It will be a really incredible show tonight at 7. Of course, we will turn to addictions again when I do my video about mental health and things like that, and hopefully get a few guests on when we do that show. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I do apologize. There's nothing we could do about YouTube streaming at the minute. I don't know what's going on. It's something they need to look into very urgently. But we will be back again at 7 tonight. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, guys. Take care.
Come back and check out some green.